And here's
1, 2, 3. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure. But does she really wanna? But can't stand to see me walk out the door.
China.
here from the Afternoon Warrior. The overall issue is that Donald Trump tweeted lightweight Senator Kirsten Gillibrand a total flunky for Charles E. Schumer and someone who would come to my office begging for campaign contributions not so long ago and would do anything for them. Is now in the ring fighting against Trump, the president wrote, very disloyal to Bill and crooked, used, which some believe is making sexual references. We have multiple sources reporting on this issue, so let's take a look at each of them to see their differences in bias.
I know China. I love China.
Dr. Tyler, reporting for the Republican Party.
What a flunky situation, you know? But let's take a look at the Republican or conservative news sources, which do not tend to promote the sexual reference viewpoint. Instead, they described it in a tone that was not dramatic and did not make Trump's tweet out to be a big deal. The title of the source from Fox News includes the phrase, says harassment claims are false, referring to Trump's refute of sexual harassment claims. We realized a pattern in the Republican news sources where they do not make Trump look as bad and focus more on the other side of the issue. The sources repeatedly use language that claim Trump has long rejected accusations from over a dozen women who have made such claims against him. Fox News. Which demonstrates their particular bias towards the fact that Trump did not mean to implicate any sexual references.
Great, what a flunky story.
China.
And here we have Dr. Maria reporting for the Democratic View.
So, for the Democratic articles, they made claims proving that Trump's tweet was sexual harassment, and they focused all on the facts that made it seem true. So the Democratic articles also had a harsher tone regarding Trump's tweet, and they were using language such as President Trump asked Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and demonstrates the liberal bias because it's clearly targeting Trump and claiming that he attacked her. So this source from the Washington Post also does not make the idea that Trump's tweet was sexually suggestive arguable at all. They rather present it as a fact, an immediate fact. And this article also dives into further issues such as the Me Too movement that is riling the nation and forcing powerful men accused of sexual misbehavior from their posts. So this makes Trump's tweet even more significant because it's relating it to a movement that is claimed to be a huge issue at the time. And Vox, another liberal known organization, even stated in the title that Trump responded with a sexist tweet, turning the opinion that Trump's comment was sexist into a common fact.
China. You went to China.
The international news source made the tweet out to be awful and embarrassing for a president to say. The international news source does not care about making America look bad, and they just care about the most interesting stories and exaggerating.
China. I have to have my China.
Back to Tyler.
It is clear that all the sources skew the story in a way to match the political views their audience already has. All the sources matched up on the basic facts. They just varied in the tone and the exaggeration of it, which demonstrates the invalidity of these news sources.
China!
Maria, why do you think these programs have differences?
So the reason why different sources present information in different ways all comes down to money. These organizations gain followers by presenting things that catch people's eye because it's interesting or agrees with their views. These organizations will go to any extent in order to make more money, and even if it means skewing the story and manipulating American citizens. Because of this, our country continues to become more polarized because people are exaggerating news issues, either more left-wing or more right-wing. People are exposed to false news, which further enhances their primary beliefs, and this will continue to be an issue in our country because creating fake news with bias does end up making these organizations and companies more money.
And here's Kirsten Gillibrand's side to the story.
It was a sexist smear attempting to silence my voice, and I will not be silenced on this issue. Neither will the women who stood up to the president yesterday, and neither will the millions of women who have been marching since the Women's March to stand up against policies they do not agree with.
Do you see this as sexual harassment by tweet?
I see it as a sexist smear. I mean, that's what it is. And it's part of the president's effort at name calling. And it's not going to silence me. It's intended to silence me. It's not going to silence the women who have stood up against him directly. And it's not going to silence the millions of women out there who have been speaking out every day since his inauguration about things they disagree with.
Republican leaders have been reluctant to even acknowledge the allegations against President Trump. Why do you think they'd be willing to open an investigation?
It's the right thing to do, and these allegations should be investigated. They should be investigated thoroughly. That is the right thing to do, and I am urging them to do that, and as should their constituents.
Overall, we discovered that the international source is the best, most reliable source because it's not left-wing or right-wing bias like the other sources. Since it is an international source, it also does not worry about making America look bad. Thank you for watching. This is the Afternoon Warrior.
China, 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 China.
And here are Kirsten Gillibrand's side.
China, China, China.